I never want to have sex again, like ever, but I do not want to lose or hurt my husband. I've been struggling with this for over a year. 29F. Am married to a man who we shall call John 30. I have been to doctors, therapists, asked around online about solutions, but my sex drive is just flat dead. Nothing brings it back. Nobody has had answers, yet. I am in perfect shape, so is he. I haven't lost love or physical attraction, no body dysmorphia, hormonal levels are fine, I am not on hormonal BC, I don't take any other medications. I tried stupid online BS and snake oil, but I think deep down I knew that stuff was never going to work. We have been together for 7 years, married 3. We are happy. We have a home and good careers, 3 wonderful dogs, and our families get along. But I just cannot stomach the idea of ever having sex again. It makes my skin crawl thinking about it. I have either been making excuses to put it off or just grinning and bearing it when he was clearly just riled up and I didn't have the heart to look him in the eye and say, ew. I literally have a cry the next time I am alone. I was his first, he wasn't my first, I taught him how to be my lover. Everything was fine for over 5 years, John is considerate, takes his time, made sure we both had fun and felt satisfied. I feel so awful even considering talking to him about it. Before last year, we had done it nearly every day. Over the last year my sex drive has slowly died. I think that I just do not want to have sex, ever again. Is that so odd? Why is that so wrong? How do I approach this with John? I plan to sit him down on our next day off together, which is in 5 days. I have that long to decide what to do. I can't do to this to him or myself any longer than that. Is it right for me to unilaterally cut that part of our relationship out? I do not think so, but everyone says that. I shouldn't be forced to do it just to keep my marriage, which sounds like crap based on the other posts here. I know sex is important. I don't know what to do next. He has been completely in the dark on this because I'm scared of divorce. I don't want him to think I don't love him, or think he's unattractive. I'm scared to hurt my best friend. I don't want him to resent me or to feel trapped. Update 1. I decided to talk to him sooner rather than later and took a few days off from work to sort this out. I think he might have left me over the lying to him for a year part. I am mostly just venting, but if you have thoughts, by all means. I do not think there is anything I can do alone to fix this. John was not angry at first, but made it clear that he would not support being in a sexless marriage. He was also a bit annoyed that I asked if he would be okay sleeping with others. He is one of those super honest and holds to his values quite strongly, which is one of the many things I respect about him. There was a lot of emotions. He walked around the neighborhood a few times, would come back in and ask questions, then leave again. He goes on walks to clear his head. This is not strange. He was angry after I told him how long I had kept this to myself, and to be clear, he asked for a timeline. I told him about the doctors, snake oil, and the therapy. I knew he was going to be mad, but John was red and absolutely silent. I've only seen genuinely mad once before, and it quite literally paralyzed me to have him look at me that way. John has never, and will never hurt me, but he never made me feel small or vulnerable. His size always made me feel safe, but in that moment I felt different. He just walked away, got his laptop bag and said he was going to a friend's house. I have a feeling I know which one, but I did not have a chance to ask. I have not heard back from him since he left 2 days ago. I called and texted, but he didn't answer me directly. Instead, I got a call from his older sister. She asked me to just leave him be and let him work stuff out for the moment. At least I know he's somewhere safe. She asked me what I did to upset him so much and I, foolishly, told her the truth. That went just swell. I completely needed my ass chewed, because that can only help, right? Sarcasm, in case that's not obvious. At this point, I just want him to come home. He has been the perfect partner and I just want him to talk to me. He doesn't deserve this. I should have never kept anything to myself. We have a king-sized fucking bed that I am sleeping in alone. The dogs are clearly confused, sleeping by the door, because I am the only one feeding and walking them instead of both of us. My plan, assuming he goes along with it, is suggesting couples therapy. That's all I got. Update 2. He is leaving but clearly trying to burn my life down on the way out. John has decided to leave. Divorce proceedings are already messy because John challenged our prenup in court, and it was found to be unconscionable by the judge, because I had violated it by telling him to basically cheat if he ever wants sex again. I had no idea he had even hired a lawyer, so I showed up alone and unprepared. Why isn't anyone in this whole thing seeing that I am miserable and don't want him to leave at all? I do not understand why having sex is such a big deal for him. We did so many other things together and just because I don't want to do one of them anymore it's all over. Whatever happened to consent? Now we have to fight over the house, dogs, and he is even going after business assets. We could have had an easy split, but he has decided to be petty instead. My only option to protect the business that I started during college is to use lawyers he could never afford. Our entire life has turned to shit, and I am struggling to find out why I'm having to suffer for this. Update 3. It's over, all but the paperwork. Still haven't spoken to him alone since he left the house. That said, I have had time to think and I will not hold on to any malice for John. Why should I when I'm clearly the one with issues? He hasn't said it out loud, but I think he never wants to see me again and I think that it might be best for us both honestly. I was super upset at first, but that was just pain, fear of being alone, and a fear of change. I had no right to be so possessive of someone that I was clearly mistreating, so here is a recap of the last few months. Both our birthdays passed, so we are now 30 and 31. We did send each other cards, but it was possibly the worst birthday either of us has ever had. The judge's initial voiding of the prenup was backtracked, thankfully. This made the process easier to sort out on paper, and my employees wouldn't have their jobs jeopardized by my mistakes and selfishness towards my husband marriage asset split. Though still not technically divorced yet, we are each taking one dog. Oldest dog passed. Not unexpected, she was an old girl. I am buying out his interest in the company using personal funds, which boils down to giving him private assets or money, equivalent to half the value that the company that has been created in the span of our marriage, which is about 10% of the total. I could have fought on that, but I don't want to, and it wouldn't be right to. John needs to start over, and that amount of money will help him get set up basically anywhere he wants. Maybe he can finally get that history degree he always wanted to get. It's something that he always wanted to do but had trouble justifying going back to college on a whim. I admit that my previous posts were all about my perspective, but I don't really know how to tell his side really, so I don't know what to do about that, other than to chill and not act like I'm the only one hurting here. I did that in my last post, and looking back I might have said, and done things differently for sure. There is just no fixing this though, and I think I'm just going to have to take my lumps. Was I drunk posting? Yes, lol. Does it excuse my overall selfish beatitude? Still going to doctors, therapists. Still repulsed by the idea of sexual contact, even self-stimulation. It seems like there's nothing physically wrong with me, but my therapist seems to think there is a deeper reason. Of course, right? I think anyone would say that I'm not fully intact mentally. I am not unhappy about it. It's not something I miss or long for, so maybe it's not so bad. Our mutual friends are mostly not picking sides, which is nice. There are a few who called me out on my selfishness, and others who are extra dramatic and think John has gone off the rails, and it's his fault, or my fault, as if it matters at this point. I will always feel like trash about this, and John will continue to hate me. As for John, I wish him the best, but his life is in shambles really, and I can't help. He was a little wild and angry for a bit, and during that time he burned a hell of a lot of bridges. Both our families thought for a while that he had treated me badly in the marriage, but I kept having to set them straight and say that I was the one who effed up. He moved to neighboring Austerty town of the Metroplex. It's a nice little house, but the last time I was there it reeked of alcohol, so I have not returned there. I did mention that to his mom, and she's helping him through a program. The last time he fell into a bout of alcoholism I was there to get him out, but I can't anymore, so that worries me. The only time we made any physical since the fight was to hug it out after Lila, our old dog 13, died. I had her at the time and she just didn't wake up one morning. He came over with his sister, we cried and shared some memories. We had adopted her about a year into our marriage, so it really was a memory lane day. For those brief moments we were a family again. That was over a month ago now, and we haven't spoken outside of legal meetings. I don't know what else to say at this point. There is only so much to say once all the papers are done, so I might just update my account with my solo journey. Who knows? I won't be going back to work anytime soon. I hired a COO so that I don't have to actually work as much anymore, so that'll be nice. I can take a breath and decide what needs to be done for me to be truly happy again. Update 4. Friends again? How do we even do that? Seeking advice on being friends again with my ex, just not any closer than that. I have been doing well, I think. I need to vent and think about this again because it looks like my ex and I are becoming friends again, and I don't even know how to navigate this. My ex and I have both had some time to simmer. Get over the suit, and actually talk, with a therapist present, obviously. This was nice because we both needed closure, and agreed we needed more time than just blowing up, and splitting with a messy suit and torn relationships. We were a huge part of each other's lives, but it's still so hard to imagine never seeing each other again. I really hurt him. He was right to be upset, especially because I didn't exactly phrase anything correctly, and it came off to him as an accusation. He lashed out as well, but honestly, I am not sure it was an overreaction. One thing that came out of the sessions was that we started chatting outside of the therapist office. We still share all the same interests still. And we are the same people as we were before, just not married anymore, and we think being friends might actually be okay. Is there anyone out there who has tips for being just casual friends with an ex? Our therapist seems to not be discouraging it but won't tell us how to just be friends. She seems to think we can reconcile back to love again, but I know better. Key comment from this post by OP: he divorced me because I lied to him for a very long time, and he couldn't trust me in the relationship anymore. He can't ever trust that would ever want intimacy again. He can't trust me to not vent our sex life to third parties, which I did and caused him great embarrassment. People in our life took sides and some treated him like a pissed.